And we're live. So that was just a little intro that got clipped out of last Saturday's video because YouTube did not like that. But today we have a little bit to talk about. I'm going to be going to SHOT Show 2024 for the first time and possibly the last time as well. So we have actually some really cool stuff to talk about. Today, the UXR was finally unveiled. I've known about it for a little while. I have not gotten to shoot it yet, though. Some other people have. I am not cool enough to be one of those people, but we will go over that. Primary arms also announced like 6 new things. Some good, some not so good. We will be going over all of the new primary arms stuff as well. And then we have a few odds and ends from Strike Industries and the new Desert Tech WLVRN, which I think I will be getting one of those for testing eventually. So hopefully we have some cool stuff. Yeah, so let's go ahead and start out with the UXR because that's probably the one most people are excited about and for pretty good reason. So let's go ahead and check out theirs if I can figure out how to do this. That's not the right one. Professional streamer here. This one? That's the one. That's better. That's better. All right, so we can go ahead and check this out. This should be muted. But this is the new UXR from Primary Weapon System. Basically, it is maximum modularity and interchangeability, and theoretically less downsides. It's going to be very, very reminiscent of the ACR. So before we get into this, actually, let's go ahead and check out one of the breakdowns that I have. If I can find it, because I forgot I had this pulled up right before so I could jump right into it. But then I got rid of it for some reason. So let's stop that one, pull up this other one, screen, window, that one. Okay, so here is the UXR in all of its glory. This is, of course, a piston operating system, folding stock, completely interchangeable from calibers from 5.56, 300 Blackout, 7.62 by 39 to 308 and 6.5 Creedmoor. And in theory, if somebody can make a barrel that takes one of those bolts, you can also get just about any caliber that you want. Now, taking a look at this one, here you can see how it's actually built. Now, this is going to be very similar to the ACR. I have owned 4 different Bushmaster ACRs. I've actually gotten the caliber conversions, including 300 Blackout, 11.5, 14.5, 16-inch, and 18-inch as well. So I'm one of the few people that's actually used a lot of the different ACR barrel conversion kits because the ACR is my favorite rifle of all time, even though it sucks. So here we have the receiver. This is the actual serialized component, which is nice because that means everything else is interchangeable. You just need to have the receiver and you can do basically anything else that you want to. We have 3 screws that hold in your barrel, and you can see they align with probably the rings on the barrel itself. So you can swap the barrel out pretty quickly, not as fast as the ACR, but still fairly interchangeable. Interesting stuff going on here. It is still using their piston system and their gas expansion chamber, kind of like you'd see on like a tank. This is not gimmicky. It does technically work, but PWS gas adjustment systems are so good to begin with. I'm not sure why they did this. I don't know if there's like a real tangible benefit. Now, very interestingly, can I blow this up a little bit? Not that much. Okay. But here we can see that the rear section of the lower receiver and the front section, the actual mag well, are interchangeable. So you can actually swap out the front section for, your go from a 5.56 mag to a 308 mag, and you actually don't change anything else. You just swap out the actual magazine well itself, which is kind of cool. Now, on the back half, this is actually compatible with AR-15 grips, and what they say most AR-15 triggers, so not all, but most AR-15 triggers. And then, of course, we have our adjustable folding stock. So it kind of does most of the things you want. Also, I should note as well, in terms of ergonomics, it's also very similar to the ACR. You have your bolt catch and bolt release just forward of the trigger guard, which is very nice. That is very ergonomic. Your finger's already there, so you lift down to drop it, lift up to hold it back. Very nice. Now, as far as the charging handle goes, I believe it is swappable. So I believe it starts out on the left side. You can swap it over to the right side. I don't believe that it is reciprocating, which is, again, nice. Handguard is a push pin that locks in front, which is pretty tight. And we'll go over the video as well, because there are going to be some downsides to this as well. But from a modularity standpoint, very similar to the ACR, incredibly modular, even more modular than the ACR was. The big deal is going to be if they can actually provide those aftermarket parts. So, and yes, I believe they are going to have the AK magazine well, so it actually takes AK mags. I believe that was in the video, but again, we're going to watch that live, so don't worry about it. All right, let's see here. And yeah, this is basically what the ACR, I don't want to say should have been, because the ACR needs to be redesigned, basically. It was too heavy for what it was. They needed to cut out a lot of weight. They actually needed to support it, and it needed to just function better, full stop, basically. So let's go ahead and go back to the video, because the video actually shows some pretty interesting stuff. So we'll go ahead and pull that one back up, if I can find it, this one. All right. So everything should be ambidextrous on it, except for the ejection port, which personally, that's a good thing. They have tuned the ejection on it to launch the brass basically straight forward, so I don't think it's overgassed in some of the shooting, but I do think they've tuned it to go as far forward as possible, so if you are a lefty, hopefully it's not hitting you in the face. But we can go ahead and see that some of this is going to be 5.56, some of this is going to be larger calibers as well, 308, 6.5 Creedmoor, so on and so forth. We can see that the top is mostly monolithic, and then you can kind of get a little bit of an extension on the rail. Now, they also need to come out with different lengths of rails. So, for instance, this looks to be about a 16-inch gun with like a 13-ish inch rail. Perfectly fine, but some people are going to want longer rails, 18-inch barrels, 20-inch barrels, and they're going to want that extra rail. For me, I like having a little bit of extra barrel at the end, but for you, you may not like it. So their manufacturing process, I believe PWS is out of Idaho. They've talked to me quite a bit. I think they like me, so I might be able to get one of these because I have reviewed their PWS Mark 116 and 111, both great. Oh, no, go back, darn it. They cut. So there's a little cut here. And the reason that they cut here is because the bolt bounce on this rifle is terrible. It has the worst bolt bounce I've ever seen. So if you watch this, go back one more. You see the internals of it, how it works. Show me shooting it again. Where'd it go? Did I miss it? I did miss it. 1 second. 1 second. Right here. Okay. So watch the bolt. It has it cut right here, but the bolt bounce on this rifle is pretty bad. Oh, okay. You actually can see it there a little bit. Bolt bounce doesn't matter all that much. We'll just pull that up. Bolt bounce doesn't matter all that much, but it can affect reliability in certain circumstances. You can see all the internals. Looks cool enough. And again, yeah, everything is interchangeable. So you slide the handguard off, push pin, 3 screws for the barrel that I believe lock into these channels here. I believe it's still an adjustable gas block up front, plus the gas evacuator system. So in theory, this should run very bore evacuator, that's what they call them. Wait, that's not real, is it? That would be that would be horrible if it was, because I mean it doesn't do anything, but I mean supposedly that should help it to run a little bit better. You can maintain like higher gas pressure with less blowback, so you can actually tune the gas, like the actual gas port down or something like that. I'm not an engineer, I don't know exactly how it works, but it's not gimmicky. It does work, but I just don't think it's necessarily necessary, especially on their piston systems, because most of that gas is getting bled out the front. And I mean, yeah, so you can see how the magwell slides right in. So you can swap out the magwell. In theory, you could swap out the back half of the lower receiver as well. So you can go straight from 5.56 to 308, and it kind of just clips in. Folding stock, of course. Now, the one thing that I will say here about the recoil, it looks bad. It looks like it's a very punchy 5.56, which it's a piston gun, so it's kind of what you expect. Because I believe that was just 5.56 that he was showing. Once he snaps that back into position, barrel whip is normal in slow motion. Yeah, you can see that it looks like it's a little jumpy, which the ACR, again, my favorite gun of all time, the Bushmaster ACR, also sucks to shoot. It's not a very soft shooting rifle. Lots of bolts, Lots of bolts. All of those need to be Loctited and torqued, because that was an issue with the original ACR as well, as you had internal steel rails on your 7075 receiver, and these bolts here, those would actually loosen up over time and start to walk out. We'll go ahead and pause this for a second so I can bring this up. Yeah, so Charles, you are correct. So this is exactly the same concept as working on a tank barrel. However, on a tank barrel, you are dealing with nearly infinitely more gas pressure and gas volume than you are, in a little 5.56 chamber. So it does work. I'm not saying that the concept doesn't make sense or doesn't work. It's just maybe not necessarily needed. Again, it's like an adjustable gas block will get you 99% the way there, and then the bore evacuator system will get you that last 1%. So I'm not saying that it's not needed, that it's terrible, that it's gimmicky, but maybe it's not from like a cost add perspective or from a weight add perspective. Maybe it's not worth it from those two. But it's, again, it's not bad, but it's maybe not needed, let's say. It also does look quite a bit like an XCR. That is true. However, way more modular and built by PWS, who I have had fantastic luck with PWS's stuff. And yes, the upper is the serialized component. The rest of it is completely interchangeable. So anything else you want to put on there, once you have the upper receiver. So let's say you SBR the upper receiver for whatever barrel length you want. At that point, you can do whatever the heck you want with it, right? Any barrel length, just keep the original barrel that you SBR'd it with, so you can return it to its stock configuration, or it's, whatever you SBR'd it as, and you can do whatever the heck you want with it, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure who actually owns the patents for the ACR, but I do know that Bushmaster, I checked their website the other day. I was hoping they would have some sort of teaser, because that I will check out at 2024 SHOT Show, but probably not. But Bushmaster is also incompetent, so I don't think that they will bring it back. And if they did bring it back, they would probably screw it up for what, the third or fourth time at this point. So yeah, the bolt bounce on this is ridiculous. We will see some more footage in slow motion. Yeah, you can see it judders back and forth, which the original ACR also had the same bolt bounce issue. Now, the way that this bolt looks is, if it's like the ACR, it is essentially just a rectangle that slides back and forth. There is no buffer system with the folding stock. So usually at most, you're going to have one or two internal springs and nothing really to mitigate that bolt bounce. So to do that sort of thing, you would need to have like a two-stage system or something that will actually reduce the bolt bounce inside of the recoil system. But when you're shortening that recoil system so that you can have a folding stock, very difficult to do. I guarantee you that that should be tuned by the barrels. So if you switch from, let's say, a 5.56 with a 5.56 spring, the 308 barrel that's going on that same spring should be tuned down far enough to where it should still cycle reliably, even with that 5.56 spring. So how I would guess they would do it is they would pick a spring weight in the middle. So it's a little bit too strong for 5.56. So they open up their 5.56 barrels. It's a little bit weaker than what you would want on a 308, but then they tune down their 308 barrel so that it has a wide range of reliability. That would be my guess. Or alternatively, they would just sell different spring weights so you can kind of tune it yourself. That is one of the wonderful things about the AR-15 is, yes, you are stuck with a buffer tube at the end of the day, but the recoil assembly is so tunable. You can do whatever the heck you want with it. You can go from a 308 short buffer with a super light spring all the way up to, like, I have a CAC A5 H4 buffer with the the rifle spring inside of a slightly longer tube, and you can kind of adjust tension as needed. Let's see here. Again, so you can see it's out of battery at this point, but again, in a non-full auto system, doesn't really matter. But the recoil, again, this is with a pseudo muzzle brake as well. Piston guns don't shoot that great. The PWS, their standard piston guns shoot fantastic for what they are, but those are also utilizing an AR-15 recoil assembly, not a internal, single spring, basically. Let's back up just a little bit so we can watch this guy shoot it. Yeah. Oh gosh, look at that bolt bounce. Yuck. That is horrible. You guys see that? Bonk. There's like 10 frames where it is out of battery. which again is not really a problem in most scenarios um, unless you're running like full auto, right, where the rate of fire is really high and it is waiting basically for that bolt to go back in battery to fire again. Let's see. All right. But again, the concept is very cool. PWS has never done something like this before. It is very new. So I would guess that there is going to be some teething issues with the system. I have not gotten to shoot it yet. I will not be at the SHOT Show range day, so I won't be able to shoot it there either. I may eventually be able to get my hands on one, and I would like to see how it performs in person. Again, really cool, hyper modular system. You can exchange it with the AK magazine pattern lower for 7.62 by 39. So if you did want to run it in that configuration, you absolutely can. Pricing. We should talk about pricing. These are starting, just the rifles, at $2,700. That's expensive, but for a unique system, that's not that bad. So I mean, that is expensive, but it's not as bad as it could be, right? Somebody else, if like H&K brought something like this out, it would be $5,000, right? So $2,700 for something completely unique and hopefully super high quality, super modular, not terrible. Barrel system swaps start at $600, I want to say. So if you want a 5.56 setup and let's say a 6.5 Creedmoor setup, you're looking at about $3,300 for just those, not including if you wanted a different rail length or some other changes to it. You're looking at a lot of money. I would hope it is lock and rock, because if they're going through all the trouble of the AK magazine catch and all that other stuff, it should just be a lock and rock. Yeah, exactly. Cool, but very, very expensive. So that's about it for the URX. Let's go ahead and take that off. What else did I have up? We should talk about something that I believe I'm going to be able to take a look at, actually. And I believe they're actually going to send one as well. Oh, that's not it. Is going to be the stop screen. There we go. Share screen window is going to be the new Desert Tech Wolverine or Wolvern. I'm not sure if that's how they want to call it. But this is the new MDRX version, so like an MDRX Gen 2, which is like the Gen 2 of their older one. So this is like the Gen 3 or Gen 4 at this point. Could be cool, I guess. So, but this does have a lot of changes from the older model. So if we go through, I actually have a better just breakdown of what's new about it, though. I'm sure their video is perfectly fine. I haven't actually watched it yet, but I just want to get the really basic information out there, which is, where is it? We're going to take a look at all this stuff. So here's the Wolvern, new integrated lower receiver. And they say that it removes 49 parts. There are 49 less parts on the new Wolverine than there were on their previous MDRX. Now, if you remove 49 parts from an AR-15, you no longer have an AR-15. I forget the total number of parts on an AR-15. It might be like 50 something, but that is an insane amount of parts to remove by going to a more one-piece receiver. Now, hopefully, in effect, that actually makes it better to shoot or more reliable, hopefully, as well. They also say the accuracy is 30% better, which does that mean that the groups are 30% smaller? So it went from like a 1.5 MOA to like a 1.2, 1.1 MOA. Not really sure. Again, still multi-caliber from 5.56 to 308, 6.5 Creedmoor. Again, any caliber like that. Up to 20% lighter. Now, this is the big one. A lot of the problems with the bullpup design is that usually they start at about 8 pounds. And an AR-15 starts at like 6 pounds, 7 ounces or something like that for like a very standard 16-inch AR-15. So removing 19%, again, up to 19%, if I had to guess, that for the heaviest versions are about 19% lighter, which would mean you'd save about a pound, pound and a half. But if you can get like 7 pounds, right around that range for a 16-inch bullpup rifle, that's a very good starting point if they can actually keep that in mind. And they also say, again, they have the new trigger, which is supposedly the best bullpup trigger, which is nice. Again, it looks nice. Hopefully, they've fixed some of the issues with the rail, with the reliability. Again, they've cut out a ton of parts. And hopefully, as well, I actually just got an email from one of those dudes. Yeah, actually got an email from one of the guys at Desert Tech, and they do want to keep me on the T&E list. So hopefully, I will actually be able to take a look at one of those. Let's see. The PSA Crink, yeah. I mean, PSA Crinks are 545. I know nothing about AKs. So 54 AKs, blah, blah, blah. Crinks are 545, right? Which is like really hard to find right now. Yeah, I mean, the problem with that is the ACR was running at around $2,000, but if they can actually support the system, I think PWS could have a winner on their hands. Maybe not the best ever, but yeah. So this basically makes the older MDRX obsolete because, at least from what they're saying, this is better in almost every way. Cuts out almost 50 parts, 20% lighter, up to 20% lighter, more accurate, same modularity, better trigger. With the Wolverine coming out, if it's 49 parts lighter, hopefully at that point it's also cheaper as well because it's 49 parts less to manufacture. So, in theory, could be a winner there. And again, I will have to check it out. Yeah, up to 19% lighter. So imagining that's on like the heaviest possible version, they cut out 19%. And then the lighter versions are probably, maybe anywhere from like 5 to 15%, somewhere in that range. I'm not sure. Yeah, exactly. Like I think a Glock is like what, 27 parts or 37 parts or something like that. So that is a insane amount of parts to remove. I think they're really fun for certain applications. I think you can like home defense or something like that, or a range toy. I think they can be very fun. But yeah, using them out in the field, I don't think is as fun as it sounds. This or a Spear LT, the new Spear LT that's getting canned by the military. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I would hopefully choose neither, but that is about all that I have on the Wolverine. I am actually invited to their range day session, so I will actually be shooting this one Wednesday night at 6 p.m. in Las Vegas, I want to say. I might have the time slightly wrong, but I should be actually able to shoot this rifle at SHOT Show at their private range session. No charging handle, no dust cover. Pretty sure it has a charging handle right there, though, right? That's the charging handle. Yeah, just 6.5 Creedmoor. 6.5 Creedmoor. That is the way to go. 277 Fury versus 6.5 Creed is the dumbest argument ever. Just go with 6.5 Creedmoor and make a specialty round for it. There you go. All right, but let's move on to primary arms. Starting off with the new PLX C. So this is the highly touted 1-8 compact rifle scope from Primary Arms. Everyone loves this. Every review that I've seen has been very, very positive. However, the new version now has the Nova reticle. If you're not familiar with the Nova reticle, it is just a fiber wire reticle. So it is extremely bright, truly daylight bright. However, you do lose a lot of the functionality that comes with a etched reticle. So you don't get your wind holds, you don't get your auto ranging features, or at least a lot of your auto ranging features. You don't get mill grids or anything else like that. The trade-off there is that you get a truly daylight bright reticle, and with the PLX-C, you also get a small, compact, lightweight body, good magnification range, great glass. You get all of the generic features that you want with that daylight bright illumination. Now, what I will say about this is a lot of the things that make the PLX, or let's say any 1-8 or 1-10, which we'll get into in just a minute, a lot of things that make those cool are what you can do at close range and at extended ranges. Where the Nova style reticles really start to fall off is beyond 400 yards. So for instance, I think a perfect Nova reticle is with a 1 to 6 LPVO, just like with their SLX, which is again 350 bucks. 1 to 6, really, really optimized for 0 to 400 yards. I am, while everything else about the scope might be fantastic, because again, it is still just a PLXC, because it is now a Nova reticle, do you lose a lot of that extra benefit that you would have at those extended ranges, 5, 6, 7, or even 800 yards, because you're losing all of your wind holds. You have a BDC versus like a mill grid. So depending on what you're putting it on, the BDC may not quite line up the same. I, I'm just a little bit torn as to whether or not I really like it. If I was doing a 3-gun match inside of 400 yards, love it. It'd be fantastic, right? Because I don't really need a BDC, or I just need like BDCs for like a specific hold that I target at a known distance. That's all great. However, actually using it at unknown distances or smaller targets at, say, 5, 6, 7, 800 yards, I think that's where the Nova reticle falls off and kind of hurts the optic a little bit. So again, while it's still a PLXC, great glass, great field of view, super light, super compact, all of the things that you like about it, the Nova reticle, I'm not sure how much sense that makes. Like, are you talking about the optic in general or with the Nova reticle? I think with the Nova reticle, it's I think the reason that they're doing it is because the Nova reticle has been insanely popular. And I know that they have sold a ton of those optics. And that's why they're doing it, is because the Nova reticle is so popular. People see that true daylight, bright, red dot illumination, and people want to buy it. So when somebody looks through this and it has fantastic glass, it's lightweight, it's compact, and it has that beautiful reticle illumination, they're going to be like, oh, I want to buy that, and I don't care that it's 12, 13, $1,400. Yeah, it's I believe they are wire reticles, because that's how you get the long fiber optic illumination piece in there. And it is also second focal plane. Where did that go? Yeah, it is second focal plane. Now, second focal plane for me in 1 to 8 is perfectly fine. Again, if you need first focal plane, you're probably beyond 400 yards. If you're beyond 400 yards, you're probably already at your max magnification, so it doesn't matter that much. But that daylight bright illumination is going to be great for shooting fast up close inside of 400 yards. Once you get beyond 400 yards, it starts to hold you back a little bit. Let's see. So this is something that I am all guilty of, because I love daylight bright illumination. I love using LPVOs. I love using LPVOs like a red dot. So if you can give me daylight bright illumination and I only have to shoot inside of 400 yards, I don't care. I'm just going to use it as I see fit, and having that perfectly high contrast, precise, fire hot dot in the center, I like that. However, if you're buying a 1 to 8, or as we'll look at too in just a second, a 1 to 10, and all you have is that center dot, well, that's not going to help you all that much, especially at longer range. Now, because this is a much simpler reticle, if they brought it to market at, say, $200 or $300 less, that could be cool. It could be cool if it's like a sub $1,000, so you still get the good glass, small body, compact, lightweight, all that, but $300 to $400 cheaper, or $200 to $300 cheaper than the standard PLXC. That could be pretty cool. Yeah, so I think the fiber wire reticle in the P4XI works really well because it's a 1 to 4. So it operates really well inside of 400 yards, and beyond that, the optic doesn't do very well and the reticle doesn't do very well either. I think you can make 500 yards work with the Nova reticle perfectly fine, especially with 8x magnification. So 300 yards, if you're using a 5200 zero, is 6 inches. 400 yards is 18 inches. 500 yards is 50 inches, depending on barrel caliber, exactly what cartridge you're using, so on and so forth. But that is the rough estimation. That's what I use when I'm shooting at unknown distances, basically. So let's go ahead and move on to the SLX 1 to 10 with the ACSS Nova. Now, I've reviewed the SLX 1 to 10 by 28 with the standard, the Griffin M10 reticle, which is the mill reticle on the SLX 1 to 10. That's a great reticle, especially at 10x magnification. You get a 1x1 mill grid to about 15 mils, second focal plane. But now you have 10x top end magnification, worse glass, and you have a much more simplistic reticle. Again, the reason that they're doing this is because they are selling like hotcakes. The SLX 1 to 6 Nova is selling incredibly well. So they are just copy and pasting that reticle into the different optic body styles to increase sales of those SKUs. There are people that are going to like this. I've already looked at a Vector 1 to 10 with just the fiber dot reticle, and I did not like it whatsoever. I thought that that was kind of a gimmick because at 10x magnification, yeah, it's 10x, but all you have is the fiber dot in the center and then like a really simple BDC, or in this case, it might be like 1 mil drops or something like that. Now, the 34 millimeter tube is good on a 1 to 10. I do not like 1 to 10s that don't have a 34 millimeter main tube. On top of that, the weight of this optic is not bad. I want to say it's like 19 ounces. Again, the regular version of this with the M10, the Griffin M10 reticle, I actually really like quite a bit, especially for, I think the retail is only like 450 bucks. It's a pretty good price. Now, again, with the Nova reticle, I think it just makes less sense overall. Not sure. And again, it's still the SLX 1 to 10, which I thought was good with the M10 reticle, but I don't know how much sense it makes with the longer one. So the 34 millimeter main tube, it does help a little bit with the eye box at 10x, but again, I just don't think 10x makes that much sense when we're talking about a fiber dot reticle. It makes a lot of sense at a 1 to 6, where it's very general purpose, 0 to 400 yards, you get good positive ID, the 1x works well, and they're very inexpensive. When you get bigger, more magnification range, you don't really get that much more capability. So you're spending more money and not really getting much for it. So I think this will sell. People will like this because, again, they'll see that illumination and love it. And that's fine, but I just don't think you're really getting that much benefit for it. Now, next we have the GLX 1X Micro Prism. So their old SLX 1X Micro Prism sold really well. People liked it. Size and weight is good. You get a etched reticle, auto live battery, good illumination. You get some additional features with the reticle as well. However, I think a lot of people kind of wanted a Gen 2. Now, they say that this one here has premium glass, so it has even better image quality. The SLX Gen 1, or not Gen 1, but the SLX Micro Prism, the image quality was not great. The image looked fine, but again, it was just like kind of a cheap Chinese optic. And that is one of the areas where I thought that Vector Optics actually did a better job than Primary Arms in terms of their 1X Prism and their 3X Prism. Now, funnily enough, they upgrade this. Hopefully the image looks better. The glass quality is better. It still has all of the other features as well. So you should still have auto live battery, very good illumination as well. The reticle looks basically the same. Push button control, so no more rheostat. A very low profile 2032 up top. And of course, your exposed windage and elevation. Now, I believe on the original SLX Micro Prism that they were 1 MOA clicks, which I know a lot of people did not like. Hopefully for this version, they have it in like half MOA clicks, because I think people will like that more. So the GLX line used to have used to be manufactured in different places. So it would go like China, Philippines, and then Japan for like the PLX. However, some of their new GLX scopes are just manufactured in China with better glass quality, which sometimes is true, sometimes isn't. So I made this complaint about the GLX 2X. It's just a Chinese optic and has all of the basic features of the SLX optic. So it's not really a GLX. It's basically the same. But if this is a straight improvement on the SLX 1X Prism and doesn't cost too much money, because I want to say the SLX 1X Prisms cost $300, maybe a little bit less than $300. But if this is like $500 or $600 for a 1X Prism, this would be a very, very tough sell. So they do need to keep the price down on that quite a bit. I ordered a Swamp Fox Raider. I never got it. They canceled the order on me, so I have to get one. It's it's on my list of things to get. I need to get a Swamp Fox Raider and a few other optics as well because I've been behind on my Prism stuff. So I will get one for sure. I can see that because I mean it is different for sure, and you are getting like if you love the SLX Nova and you're in a much higher price bracket. So let's say you don't care if it's $1,200 or something like that. You want the body, you want the better glass, and you still want that Nova reticle. Then it can work for you, but you're in a smaller niche than the rest of us. I don't think for necessarily like a general purpose guy, you're looking for a fiber optic reticle at like $1,200, right? I think it will sell. It will sell a lot for sure, but that's because people will like it, not necessarily that it's the most usable thing on the market. No, so a 1x Prism is for people with really bad astigmatisms or if you are afraid of the battery dying. So basically you have an etched reticle, so it will in theory last forever. If the battery craps out on you, you still have a very usable optic. And the 1x SLX 1x Prism, the Vector 1x Prism are very, very useful. They have fantastic eye relief. Eye box is very good. You can use them kind of like a red dot, even though they don't perform quite as well. You can still kind of use them like that. It's not terrible. So yes, this is what I hope as well. I hope it is actually a straight upgrade, better glass. You know, the mounts look the same, so that's fine. But better glass, at least better image quality, and I guess that's really all that I'm looking for. They have updated the body design a little bit, make it a little slimmer, a little bit more compact with the very low profile 2032 there, and I think you got a good start anyways. You are probably not wrong about that. Mm-hmm. So that's actually funny because that is the BRN 416 back there, and that has the Vortex 5X Prism with a Vortex red dot on top. So that is actually basically the exact same thing there. Again, a 1X Prism has a place. It's just a very small niche. So even if you don't personally like it, somebody out there can find a use for it. Okay, now let's move on to... Oh dear. Oh dear. I might get in trouble for this. So the GLX MD21 micro red dot sight has a big old solar panel on top and is really dumb. Don't buy this one. Instead, buy the SLX, which is the exact same dot with the exact same reticle options minus the solar panel. So it's going to be cheaper than the GLX version. In very strong quotations, the GLX version, where the main difference is really only going to be the solar panel on top. Forget that. Just move on to the SLX MD21. Save yourself some money. You still get all of the different reticle options, which is fantastic. So you get the 2MOA dot plus outer horseshoe plus BDC, chevron, chevron BDC, chevron BDC, everything, right? Very cool. Very cool. So you get all of the reticle options you can want. You get a slightly updated body, which is, it looks to be Aimpoint T1, T2 compatible. Looks cool. Looks very cool. So, but again, it's just a basic red dot with all of the extra options. And if you don't want the options, you can get rid of them. That has been one of the biggest issues with, I think it's the MD25, is that if you get the ACSS version, you do not get to swap between the different reticle options. So if you say you want to be more precise, you want to just use the chevron, just use a 2MOA dot or something, you can't get rid of the rest of the garbage in the screen. With this version, with the GLX and the SLX version here, you are going to be getting all of that adjustability within the reticle. So if you just want to use a 2MOA dot, go for it. If you want to use the chevron horseshoe, go for it. That is awesome that you can actually cycle between the different options. I have not seen that. I actually haven't been. I need to check Hololsen. I have actually a notepad doc, which you guys can't see right now, but I have a notepad doc of all of the different things that I'm supposed to be checking out. But I haven't gone through Hololsen yet, so I will take a look at it for sure. I'll be there. But I mean, yeah, again, if it's $2,000 or $800 or something, it's like, I don't care. Yeah, I mean, the Romeo 4T has pushed the market in a good direction. Now, if the SLX comes out and it's $200, like that's pretty cool. I like that. I like seeing all of those features and everything that you would want in a reticle for $200 or less. That would be option. I agree. Yeah, solar, it does work if you're outside, basically, right? So I mean, there is that if you are just very afraid of having your battery die. But if you're using a red dot, you have a second battery somewhere, and then you have a set of iron sights. You're done at that point. You never need to worry about not having an aiming solution. I didn't love the MD25 either. I had the 2MOA version and the ACSS version as well. I didn't love them. So hopefully it's a little bit less blue. The image quality is a little better, but oh well. You can just go back and watch it, man. No problem. Yeah, I really doubt Aimpoint is ever going to do that. Excuse me. You have the best red dot on the market. Just keep charging $800 for it because I'm sure they're making a ton of money on that. Thanks, man. Yeah, so if you're looking at this for night vision, I think you're still going to be limited to the Romeo 4XT Pro, XT4 Pro, however that is. I think you're still going to be limited to that because I don't think that they're going to drastically increase the night vision performance of this optic. I could be wrong, but I don't think so, especially considering it's probably going to come out around $200, $250, somewhere in that range. Yeah, and again, the MD25, the body style isn't great either. I don't love the slightly larger body that you get. It's just bulkier and doesn't really come with any benefits. So, oh dear, I did see the 9T. I do not believe it is worth it for 99.99% of people. The idea to have two dots that can be zeroed independently is cool in theory, but almost no one actually needs that sort of thing. Get the Romeo 8T for $550 and you will be very, very happy. Again, it's like buying an Aimpoint for $800. You buy an Aimpoint, you're done. You buy a SIG Romeo 8T, you're done, but you put up with the size and weight, of course. I'm pretty sure the 4XT Pro is the one to get. Just get the 4XT Pro. But I believe Hop has good videos on all of those, so you would have to reference his videos. But for my money, again, it's like sub $500 right now. So the 4XT Pro is just the one to get if you're looking for like an Aimpoint T2 at half the price, basically. And actually has more features than an Aimpoint T2, right? Yeah. Nobody should be buying a 9T. It's insane. It's like, what, $2,000 or something like that? When you could buy 4 SIG Romeo 8Ts, which is the better dot for 99.9% of people anyways. Like, don't buy a 9T. It's ridiculous. Okay, let's move on to something that I'm actually more excited about in the SLX line. So they're actually coming out with their updated mounts, which means 30 millimeter, 34 millimeter mounts with top mounted red dots. Somewhere around here, actually, it's in the background. You guys probably can't see it. Over there, there are two guns that have 1 to 10 LPVOs on them that I haven't done anything with yet. But one of them has the primary arms PLX mount that is $300. And then the top RMR mount is like an extra like $75. So we're talking about a nearly $400 mount. It's absolutely crazy in terms of a piece of aluminum, right? A variable piece of aluminum. But the fact that they're coming out with the SLX version, which is going to be much, much cheaper, hopefully sub $100 with like a $40 hood. So you can get that top mounted RMR at a much better price. That would be very cool. So let's see here. I don't have anything crazy. No. Just checking something real fast, making sure everything is running at least slightly smooth. Delete those, come over here. All right. So I am excited for the new 30 and 34 millimeter mounts with the top mounted red dot. If they did come out with a 193 mount as well in the SLX lineup, so it's cheaper, that would be very cool. You also have what do they call this? So remove the stock locking block, put on this one, and then you get an offset red dot. This looks like a MOS mount. So You would probably need to use an adapter plate, or if they come out with a different version, you could get a RMR mount as well. And they also have their 2.2-inch riser, which again, I think 2.2 is a little too tall for me. I like 193 personally, but they are coming out with that in the SLX lineup, which is hopefully much cheaper. All of these should be $100 or less, which would actually provide a good value in the market. And they all seem fine just looking at them. They seem like the GLX, just cheaper. Oh dear. Now let's go ahead and talk about the Strike Industries thingamajig. I have no idea what the heck this is, other than it looks cool, right? It looks cool. Do we think this looks cool? It's a P90 body conversion kit something. I have no idea what this is, but it looks like an updated 90, because the P90 body to me, the old plasticky rounded thingamajig, has always looked horrible to me. It's always looked terrible. This, however, does look like a modernized version of that, basically what it should be. So I don't know if they're coming out with it as a actual gun or as like a conversion kit. So you take your P90 internals and then you smack them into this body, and then you have a P90 V2 or something like that. It looks interesting. That's what I'll say. Yeah. So here's the thing. If this is a complete gun, or if this is just a body that you slap your P90 internals into, depending on how expensive it is, I might actually check one of these out. I might actually have to fork over some ridiculous amount of money for a Strike Industries product, probably the most expensive Strike Industries product ever, to try this out. Because, I mean, I would like to say this kit's like $400 or $500. Realistically, it's probably like $1,000, not including having to fork out all of the cash for an actual P90 internals. So, yeah. But it does give you more options. So we see that we have sling mounted points, we have cheek risers at the back, we have a much more ergonomic design. Though if we could just cut this part out so we could just have an AR-15 grip module here, that would be even better. Hopefully an improved trigger. Again, we have QD cups here, thumb rest, or is that the no, I don't even know what that is. Is that the charging handle? I have no idea. I've never shot a P90, so I have no idea what any of this stuff is. We have Picatinny up front for foregrips or anything else you want to put in there. Top rail, side rail thingy, another side rail thingy on this side, another piece of Picatinny, M-lock slots. It is a strange amalgamation. Let's say that. See, that's the thing though. I would absolutely buy it if it worked and it was cool because it looked like Halo. I would absolutely do that. Cash grab. Strike Industries is a cash grab. I'll have you know. Have they ever made a good product? Ever? Yeah, I think what's funny is, so COD will take like a original design, like the PS90, whatever it is. They will like modernize it, and then Strike Industries is like, we're going to take that bastardized version of this gun, and then we're going to bastardize that, and then bring that to market. So it's like two different levels of bastardization there. Yes, very 3D printery, but I will be there and I will check it out. So, speaking of a new Aliens movie, it will probably suck. Oh, so Templar Precision. No, I like this guy. This guy does really good work. So he has actually been making lower receivers, barrels, all of the parts for ACR. So if you own an ACR and you actually want to make it good, Templar Precision will do that for you. The problem with that is you have to buy a 15-year-old $2,000 rifle or more now that they're not being made anymore. And then you got to give Templar Precision another $2,000 to $3,000 if you want to do everything. Bolt lightning, low receiver, barrel nut removal. And again, I've owned 4 ACR, so I know about Templar Precision. I've seen a lot of his stuff. I follow him on Instagram. He does really, really good work. But if you want the best ACR possible, you're going to buy one and then spend like another $2,000 on work to get the best one out there. And then it's like, at that point, just buy whatever the new URX is from Primary Weapons. So yeah, so that's the thing. I'd have to, not only is this going to be crazy expensive, but then I'd have to buy like 1,000 rounds of 5.7, and I don't even know if that's physically possible for me. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's also a problem. This is definitely something that's going to be SBR'd, which means that once you buy it, you are never going to sell it. So keep that in mind. If you buy this and SBR it, you are never going to sell it. I'm not a huge fan of Stargate. I've watched some of the original SG-1. I watched Stargate Atlantis, but I'm not a big Star Trek Stargate fan. Not that I'm not a fan, just that I haven't really watched them. P90, that's also spitting 9mm. That's not 9mm. That's definitely 5.7 in there. They're showing a P90 mag, so it has to be 5.7. Aha. Yeah. So what's your Instagram? Because there's way too many Instagrams for me to keep track of. Let me see real fast. Because there was another gentleman that I was getting emails from that was also teasing it to me. So I will be there. I will check it out. I will stop by, of course. I'm a big fan of your regular piston rifles as well. So we shall see how it unfolds. Oh, and thank you for the $5, by the way. That is very generous of you, sir. Thank you. Much appreciated. Yeah, that's also rough because if you did want this but didn't want to SBR it, then you're going to have a 16-inch barrel sticking out the front. And if you do want to SBR it, you need the barrel, the shorter barrel, and then wait. Yeah, no, and it would still be a Form 1 SBR because if you buy the kit and then buy a 16-inch PS90 or just try and SBR whatever is actually considered the receiver, if it's a Form 1, it should only take about 30 days. So that would be the option I would go. The problem is all of the parts. All of the parts are going to be the problem. Okay, so that is the charging handle. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because I've never shot a P90, so I have no idea what any of this stuff is. And the bastardized Strike Industry version is obviously even worse. You are not entirely wrong. The cloak flash hider was fine. I actually used that on one of my original builds, and I had one of the prongs, one of the 4 prongs, just fly off during shooting. So that was cool. Ooh, you know what? They should have done that actually. They should have made it red and black with like yellow accents. Mm. That sounds like Strike 80. Oh, like the Polymer 80 frame, but it's a Strike Industries 80 frame. Now that would actually probably be fine as long as it's actually manufactured properly, like to the right sizes, basically, which hopefully they could pull that off, because as long as it has stippling everywhere, I don't care. Micro pistol comps, I haven't shot those, so maybe they're good. Yeah, that's the thing. 5.7 also just sucks. But it looks cool. Do you see it? It looks cool. That's why you buy it, because it looks cool. Let me see it. Chris, okay, yeah. So you pop up. I hope I'm not ducking you, but you pop up as Chris in my DMs. That's why I didn't recognize the name. I was like, what? What are we talking about? But thank you again for another $5. You don't have to do that, sir. I'll be there. You don't need to pay me to show up. Dude, I have no idea what this is. This over here, I have no idea. I imagine that is a laser of some sort, but it looks absolutely ridiculous. So what is the height over bore on this thing? So the barrel is theoretically here, right? And then our red dot is 4.5, 5 inches height over bore. I mean, you're literally like aiming a head above somebody for a headshot on this. That's funny. anti-hype train. It's like I want one because it looks cool, not because it's actually good. And then we talked about the UXR, which I started out with the UXR. Again, very ACR like, but let's call it the ACR plus. Yeah. I like what I'm seeing. Hey, Chris, do you know the weight on like the standard 16-inch version? What is the weight on the standard 16-inch version of the URX? Please do not say 8 pounds, because the ACR was a 16-inch ACR 556 was naked at 8.1 pounds. So if you can say less than 8 pounds, I'd be super happy. I will also be at Palmetto State Armory's booth for sure, checking them out because I know they have the new crank, the Jackal I want to get my hands on eventually, even though I'm biased against the Jackal. But yeah, if they do a bullpup or something like that, it's Palmetto State Armory, so you never know. They do a lot of wacky things. Some of it works really well. Some of it, not so much. Not so much. Are you sure about that? Because a AR-15 has a height over bore of 2.6 inches with a 143 or 153 or something like that. So that looks way more than 6 inches. I appreciate it. You keep doing that, man. Ooh. No way. Sorry, I'm looking at this guy's DMs right now. Let's see. Major configurations. Oh, shoot. I got to pull it up on my phone. It won't pull up on my PC. Give me a second. 1 second. Oh, is that really just a Picatinny backend? That's cool. So wait, on the URX, let's go to that for a second. Is the this back section here, is that actually a Picatinny section in the back? So let's say if I didn't like this stock for whatever reason, I could swap off any other Picatinny stock. Is that possible? And then Charles M comes in with a huge $20. Thank you very much, sir. That is the largest donation I've ever gotten on a live stream, but thank you very much. Never stop making honest content. It is rare to find nowadays. Glad you're getting more recognition. Thank you, sir. That is greatly appreciated, and I will continue to try. So SHOT Show 24 should be very, very fun. So Gun.Deals is footing the bill for me. So they paid for flights, hotels, laptop rental, and rental car. So I will be there because of Gun.Deals. So I will, most of the like filler content and the niceties, that's all going to be on Gun.Deals channel. So you should subscribe to them. I am a paid contributor. I do not own Gun.Deals. I do not run Gun.Deals. I am not affiliated with them. I am a 1099 NEC, non-employee contractor. So they pay me to make videos for them. That's all I do. I will be making videos for the Gun.Deals channel on SHOT Show, the niceties, let's say, and then the more aggressive content will be on my channel. And then I'll probably do like a nightly recap live stream sort of thing. But that should be fun. Oh, that's lame. But I mean, you were probably just a little bit too based. Charles M is hyperlit. I agree. Well, right. I'm biased now. I've received $15 from Chris, so I now have to put that in my video that I received $15 from Chris. Merc. Okay. Hey, the concept looks cool. I want it to work. I want it to not be 10 pounds. Sick. Okay, so it is Picatinny at the back, so you can swap on other stocks. I am told that the stock is quote unquote God tier. But what was the weight on the system? I didn't see the weight on here. So what's like the weight of a basic 16-inch? Is this going to play audio? Don't play audio. I can't tell because I have the headphones on. Actually, I can probably put this. No, I can't. I can't even put this on screen because it won't show up on here. And then okay. That's what I want to know. I want to know the weight of a basic 16-inch UXR 556 223 wild, whatever it is. What is the basic weight? Not sure about that. Oh, it's angled. Are we talking about the Strike Industries? That'd be. I mean, that would kind of make sense a little bit because it's so high. 6.5 pounds? That's incredibly light. But I mean, I think we are talking about a polymer lower receiver, polymer lower, the magwell area, the fire control unit, and the stock. I imagine all that is mostly polymer. And then we have our 70, 75, 60, 61 monolithic upper, our hand guard, barrel, and bolt. Now, the ACR bolt, their bolt carrier group, was famously heavy. When I say it was literally a rectangle block of steel, it was literally a rectangular block of steel. So hopefully they've managed to tune the weight down a little bit. Short barreled uppers. I have Mach 18. I have a singular Mach 18 left, and I have a singular quad rail Mark 3 left. So, but next up is going to be Recce Racks 13.7s, and then Mark 4s, which is the 18-inch SPR. So that is the update on stock. As we're sitting right now, I will be gone for a week at SHOT Show, so there is going to be a week delay in that. Nah, no. I mean, an AR-15 that weighs 5 pounds usually sucks to shoot, is not particularly accurate, and has reduced capability compared to heavier stuff. I am fine with a naked AR-15 weighing like 6.5 pounds. 6.5 pounds. I think that's good. Now I'm getting DMs from everybody. So that is actually fantastic. So apparently, yeah, 6.5 pounds naked for the 16-inch version. That is fantastic because that means you get a piston operating system, all of this modularity with almost zero weight penalty. Because I want to say a 16-inch, very expensive gun, a 16-inch, what's the name? Q. Their 16-inch, what's their, I forget Q's naming conventions, which Q, not Plan B, Q Fix or something, not the Fix. I'll figure it out. The Sugar Weasel, is that the one? Let me see. Whichever one. Anyways, the Q 16-inch AR starts at 6 pounds flat. 6 pounds flat. So 6.5 pounds with all of the modularity, piston operating system, folding stock, caliber conversions, starting out at 6.5 pounds. That is very, very good. Excuse me. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like when they don't mention weight, you're like, wait a second, I'm getting all these features, but how much does it actually weigh? Is that confirmed? Can somebody confirm if that's a titanium trunnion? Because that's expensive to machine a trunnion out of titanium. Ah, I'm hearing it is really interesting. But why wouldn't you just go for a aluminum barrel nut? Like almost everybody uses a CMT, Geisley, all of those guys are all using a 70-75 barrel nut, which is lighter than titanium. But obviously titanium is stronger, and you do get higher calibers as well, 308, 65 Creedmoor. So maybe titanium is a good variation there. Look closely at the image. I will take your word for it, sir. I will take your word for it. To make this not clear, the port one folded. Oh, interesting. Interesting. So, but again, I've heard the stock is good. So even if you don't like it, well, then you're kind of out of luck. You do have QD points. You could run a sling through there if you wanted to. So you have QDs here, I imagine, on both sides because it's supposed to be ambidextrous. Cheek riser looks to be 3 to 4 inches of adjustability, which should fit most people. So hopefully it works for everybody. That's the one. Sugar Weasel. Sugar Weasel comes in. It's a 16-inch 5.56 AR, 223 Wild AR. Comes in at 6 pounds flat. So for an extra 8 ounces, you get all this stuff. It's kind of cool. About the same price too, actually. Well, of course. You can still always make any weight 5.56 gun run. That's never going to be a problem. It's just I prefer some of the things that I get with a little bit of a heavier setup. But again, if you're doing something where you need something to be extremely lightweight, or if you just like that sort of thing, then that's perfectly fine. But again, I think standard weight of about 6.5 pounds for an AR-15, I think is perfectly fine for the average person. 6.7. Well, he's not entirely wrong. So the calibers should be, what is that? 6.5 Creedmoor, 308, 5.56 of course, 300 blackout, basically just a barrel swap. And then you have 7.62 by 39 with a X39 lower that takes Rock and Lock AK mags. So incredibly versatile. And now I would imagine if somebody can confirm that they will eventually probably have things like 6 ARC as well, or maybe the new Sons of Liberty Gunworks 6 Max, and like an 18-inch or a 20-inch setup for like more of a DMR setup. That would be very cool. A little bit of a longer rail, bipod, all that sort of fun stuff. The barrel itself, pretty sure the barrel is just steel. It might be a lighter profile barrel, but I'm pretty sure it's just a steel barrel. That is also true. Titanium, you can get away with less material for the same strength. So if you're trying to reduce bulk, that is a good use of titanium. But again, you do pay for that, of course. Starting price of the URX is $2,700, which is expensive, but not necessarily for everything that you're getting. Yeah, titanium trunk. That's also true. Also true. Yeah, if you're going to be clamping on and off and swapping it out, you might want something that lasts a little bit longer. Yeah, AUGs kind of just suck, though. Trunnion, yes. So usually one of the things that you have to do with a lightweight AR-15 is you have to use something like a carbon fiber rail or something with less Picatinny on top. And Picatinny not only obviously increases usability, but it also acts like a backbone to your rail. So if you do not have a Picatinny top section, you are much more likely to bend it because it doesn't have that backbone, which adds rigidity, it adds strength, all that sort of fun stuff to the top of your rail. So yeah, you cut off a few ounces, or if you're using carbon fiber, it's basically worthless. But that is one of the sacrifices you make for getting such a, yeah, 6 ARC should be coming. But yeah, again, super light, you're usually cutting corners somewhere with super light ARs. Yeah. And again, it doesn't do all that much. So it's not like it's a horrible system, but it just doesn't do that much. Let's go ahead and pull back up that video again. So let's remove that one. I'll come back up here for a second, and then we should be able to, oh shoot, actually. That is most of what I had to take a look at, but we will pull this back up though. Stop. There we are. I forget that you have to actually do that. There we go. Okay. Controversially, I am not a huge fan of 8.6 black. It's a great hunting round. And that's that. 6 ARC should be on the menu. That would be cool. 6 ARC again would be cool. No doubt about that. I imagine it's a little bit heavier in 308. So let's say it's 7 pounds in 308 with a 16-inch barrel. Still very lightweight, but yeah, it'll need to be tuned down for sure to be nice. 10 pounds fully kitted. If you're starting out with a rifle at about 6 to 6.5 pounds, you can absolutely stay under 10 pounds with maximum capability. All right. Let's see. Good to know. Yeah, so I didn't watch the video, but I did see that people had done a video on it. Bullpup conversion, are we talking about Palmetto Sid Armory or this one, the URX? Because I do not think you could, because you'd have to mess around with the handguard. You have, of course, your barrel mounting system right here in the middle. So to move the fire control group forward, you would have to do something crazy to get this to a bulb up configuration. And I don't know why you would when it's already coming in at 6.5 pounds. I don't think it needs that. Yeah. Yeah. It's just not as strong. You're literally removing the backbone of your rail to do that. I would find if you're in a very weight sensitive role and you don't necessarily need the rail to maintain maximum rigidity, but if you do need that, then yeah, it's a good idea to keep that around. I also can't afford a 8.6, so maybe that's why I am biased against it. Yeah, it does well because you have to have extra material there in 5.56. Fortunately, it is just in it's polymer, right? So even if there is more material there, you aren't getting like a ton of extra weight because it's just polymer. So we can see this guy slap it in place for the 308 lower and then go straight to a bigger caliber. Very cool cinematography though. Yeah, if I get one. Holosun doesn't really talk to me, so they're not going to send me one. So I'd have to drop like $2,000 onto it or something, or however much that one is. So it's very expensive. So I'm not sure if I will do that. Oh, it is theoretically possible, but it's already a $3,000 rifle, and then a conversion kit for that developed specifically for it is going to be even more expensive. So, of course, it's theoretically possible. Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely doable. Like you can even get away with some LPVOs, laser light combos for under 10 pounds for like a 16-inch gun. Yes, with it does remind me quite a bit of the Beretta with the 5.56 magwell on there for sure. But we can see it looks punchy. Like it, I made this critique to one of the Palmetto State Armory guys about their Jackal, just watching people shooting it and filming it when I was at the gathering. And the engineer there was not happy with me when I said that because I was like, it looks like it sucks to shoot. And shot it. And I was like, oh, this does kind of suck to shoot. And he was not very happy with me about that. Yeah. Because you can see the whole gun kind of like doing the swimming thing or something like that when it recoils. Oh, I just moved it. Let that go. And yeah, if you look out recoils, it doesn't look that pleasant to shoot. A ton of bolt bounce. This guy looks like he's doing a better job. But we also have a pseudo muzzle brake out front as well. No, I haven't. But apparently I should pull that up. So you guys can watch this video for a second while I pull that up. Is it on their website? Because if it's on their website, I can just grab a quick. Yeah, so look at the AK mag. That's cool. I just want to go to Holosun real fast. And is it on their Instagram or something? Because if I can pull it up somewhere, I can show it off. That's theoretically possible. Theoretically possible. Products. Let's see. I'm looking on their website for it to see if I can actually show it off, but if it's not just going to pop up easily, then I'm probably not going to be able to take a look at it while live. Yeah, see, that's the thing. You can get really, really lightweight handguards, and the functionality, the durability, the longevity is almost always reduced. So, like, remember when Geisley came out with the Geisley Mark 13 rail, Mark 14 rail, which is a very slim rail, aluminum barrel nut, but that rail was what gave them the reputation of being a bendy boy because people were like, hey, your Mark 4 rails are too heavy. Your Mark 8 rails are too heavy. Come out with something lighter. They came out with something lighter, and then when it bent on them, everybody was like, hey, how dare you? But they asked for a lighter rail, and they got one. Come on. The Holosun website is simply not loading, so I shall have to try that again. Not that I have seen, but if somebody does want to send it over, what the frick? I don't even know what that was. So here is the Wolvern, which is the one that I think I will be able to be taking a look at soon. This one here Looks to have an integrated bipod. And of course, this is either 6.5 or 308, which is in a really cool setup here. This actually looks really cool. Not sure how usable it is, but it looks really cool. And this one here, I should be able to shoot Wednesday at their private range session. I should be able to. No. That did come out, but the thing was exactly like it's fine. It works. It's not necessarily a horrible gimmick, but it's nothing special. So I don't know why, unless there's some like super tangible benefit that you get from it. I'm not sure why you would choose to go with it. All right. Okay, their Instagram has. Okay, I can pull that up then. Thank you for that, sir. Let's see. Shot show. Nope, not that post. Looking for it. I don't see it. It's not just popping up. Oh, that's Hollis in Europe. Why doesn't just the main account pop up? There it is. I see it now. Ooh, that looks cool. Give me 1 second to pull this up. That looks relatively neat. Pictures. Where am I going to save this to? Let's go ahead and pull this out for a second. And then I should be able to just pull this one. Nope, that's the wrong one. All right. And where are you? Oh, there it is. All right, look at this. Look at this guy. The DPS TH Digital Pistol Sight. Red dot and thermal fusion. Very interesting. So it has their LED MRS system. It looks super tall. Super tall. So I'm not sure why you would go with something like this for a pistol when you should probably bring it out for a rifle first, right? Because I mean, look how big this thing is. This is like borderline not a pistol optic with how tall it is. 50 FPS overlay refresh rate, which is not fast. Not fast. Usually with like, let's say VR stuff, usually you would want something like 90 FPS minimum to where it feels more natural. 50 FPS is not horrible. 30 FPS is terrible, but 50 FPS is not horrible, but could certainly be better. Now let's see here. Wide angle 0.3 magnification mode. So you're looking through your red dot and you're seeing like everything on the outside. That's gimmicky, but mildly cool, I would say. Pricing and availability to be announced at SHOT Show. I would be shocked if this was under $1,000. Because I think their other stuff, their other hybrid systems have been very expensive as well. Thanks, Richard. Are we talking about this one? This is one we're talking about? Yeah. I mean, let's see. Yeah, the thermal fusion overlay is a very cool system. I don't know how cool it is on a pistol red dot that's going to be used inside of 50 yards, inside of 25 yards, or more realistically, inside of 10 yards. I don't know how much you need a thermal fusion overlay on a pistol red dot. Yes, it absolutely has a mini Ames look, which in an Ames footprint, like on a normal AR-15 model, like a rifle red dot, I think that makes a lot more sense than trying to mount something like this to a pistol. I don't think it looks ugly, but I get where you're coming from. It's just a box.
We don't know. We don't know. They're coming up with so much new stuff and reinventing all of their stuff over and over again that like fixing smaller problems is like somehow harder to use. Exactly. It's like you're spending like $2,000, $1,000, whatever it ends up being, to be like less capable inside of 25 yards. I don't get it. If the handguard is better, then that's fantastic, because with that one there, if you're mounting anything forward of the receiver that needs to maintain 0, they absolutely have to improve their handguards. Not on a pistol though. I don't think most people are doing a lot of hunting with pistols, especially that screen is so small. So remember, that screen is going to be like 2.5 feet away from your body that you're looking through. So you'd be better off with iron sights. I'm pretty sure you'd be better off with iron sights at any sort of usable distance. A thermal camera is what you're seeing as the weapon light. Thermal camera? So I thought it was a hybrid system. Am I wrong about that? It's a red dot and thermal fusion sight. Yeah, that combines. So, but are these two things connected somehow? Is that what we're talking about? I'm just saying this for the first time, so if I get something wrong, I apologize. It's still backordered. That sucks. I've heard good things about it. I have not personally used one yet, though, so I can't comment on that. But yes, I will be there. I'm flying in Monday night, so I'm not going to the range day. I just didn't bother enough people to actually get a range invitation, so I will be in there Monday night. That's horrible. Yeah, that sounds awful. So, what would you use this for on a handgun? What is the actual application of this on a handgun? Is this just like, this would make sense as like a tech demo, right? Like a proof of concept. But for somebody to actually go out and buy this for like $2,000, that is a maybe. Yeah, I would imagine it's 509T, right? Or something similar to that. So you could definitely put this on a rifle, but if you need the optic and light combination, maybe on like a PDW or something. Yeah. But okay, here's the thing. If you want to use it for some sort of night vision application use, if this is like heading towards the cost of like a PVS 14 monocular, right? So you'd probably just be better off with a PVS 14 monocular or something else, because this does not. Yeah, that's another thing. This seems silly. This seems like a concept piece, like a proof of concept, like a tech demo. That's what this seems like, not like an actual product that apparently they're actually releasing. Yeah, that's their new laser aiming module. I have not actually seen that yet. Yeah, here it is. 80,000 candela. I just saw their new light, which seems like a decent light. Seems cool. And the V cell, or the iris. Mm-hmm. Iron laser illuminator. That could be cool too. That could definitely be cool. Menu. Let's pull that up. And we'll save this here. Go to. I'm doing stuff in the back end right now, so this takes me way too long because I was not prepped for HoloSun. All right, so if we go. Nope, is it there yet? Hello? Pictures. Okay, just there. Cancel. All right, let's go back here. Why would they ever do that? you have that most technologically advanced red dot and thermal imaging sight possible, and then you also unveil at the same time like offset iron sights, which haven't been cool since 2009. Yeah, it looks horrible. That looks horrible. Can I refresh this? Fine. Fine, fine, fine. I will have to pull this up. You have to duplicate it again to get it to pull up, apparently. Is it going to pull up this time? No, it's not going to? Gosh dang it. Give me a second. Yeah, so it's there. So why not just show up? All right. Pulling it up again. There it is. So this is Holosun's new laser aiming module thingamajig, which does look relatively cool. So you have a 3A green laser plus IR laser and illuminator in a very, very small lightweight package. Now, if this is limited by your standard, what is it, like 0.5, 0.7 milliwatt or something like that for the power on the illuminator, it may not be all that useful, but the body style, very small, very compact, 70-75 housing, should be relatively durable. I don't think it'd be even cool on a PDW if we're talking about the old pistols, the pistol thermal overlay thing. That does not look appealing in almost any way, shape, or form. Some 198720003 comes in with $4.99 and says, I don't know if it's any interest to you or your channel, but could you keep an eye out on Echelon aftermarket frames? I absolutely can. I haven't shot an Echelon yet. I'm not particularly interested because I have a Glock 17, and as of yet, there's still not much reason to side grade. I'm not saying that it's a bad firearm or anything, but also, what's wrong with the stock frame? I thought the stock frame was pretty decent, at least from what I've heard. Again, I haven't shot one, but what are you looking for in a new frame? Somebody should probably help Hop. Hop will have a great time there. Hop has absolutely no work to get done. He has no travel arrangements to make, and he has no deadlines or meetings either. So Hop has no pressure to go to Las Vegas. I am sure he will have a great time. Exactly. Poor Hop. Me, on the other hand, I have absolutely nothing to do either. I am just wandering around making videos on whatever I think is interesting. So I have no pressure whatsoever. So I should actually have a fun time. That's my plan. Oh, let's see. Always booze. Oh, yeah. So we're talking about like the Flux Raider. If it is popular enough, I guarantee some of those companies will absolutely be bringing on, they'll make a frame that accepts the Echelon fire control unit. I guarantee you they will eventually. It will probably just take some time. All right. I can probably just pull this up, can I? I can just pull this up. Why not? That should, in theory, be easier. Stop that for a second. Pull this one up. Yeah, I can just pull this up. All right. All right. Boom. Hey, look at that. So we have their new light as well, which also looks fairly interesting. Let's get rid of this one. Let's pull that back up. Wrong one. That one. There we go. Look at that. All right, so we have their new weapon light as well, which looks like it comes with a tape switch with a Picatinny mount on top. Relatively cool. Interestingly enough, this looks like it's mounted on a old PWS upper. We've already taken a look at the URX, but it looks like it has the PWS gas adjustment up top there. Interesting. Tail cap, 80,000 candela, perfectly fine. 1,000 lumens, also perfectly fine. 70-75 housing. Nothing overly special. It seems like everybody's coming out with like a really decent high-powered rifle light, which this should be good. This looks very similar to like the HRT AWLS, albeit with, instead of the ODA tail cap, you have a actual switch, which, if it is compatible with like Surefire switches, could add some really nice compatibility down the line if you, for whatever reason, really like the light. The body looks semi-proprietary, so, and the head does not look super removable from this, but we can see a little bit later on. Oh, is it really? That sucks. Or I'm not sure if that's just speculation on your part, but if it does come as a single piece, and it's, you know, sub $300, yeah, I mean, you can always just go mod light there. Here's the thing: there are, at this point in time, you have Surefire finally updated theirs with the Surefire turbos. You have mod light. You have the HRT AWLS. You have like a dozen different bodies that you can choose from. Arasaka as well. All of the different heads, all of the different tail switches, all of the different caps, and whatever else that you want that is compatible with, you know, the most popular switches on the market. Coming out with a new light right now is kind of like, it's a pretty saturated market, at least from where I'm sitting. Yeah, so the Holosun pistol light is the PID or whatever it is, 1000 lumen pistol light. I've actually, some of you guys in the chat, I've actually sent some of these to. It's gas cap. C-spec. Of course you are. Thank you, Steven. Thank you, Steven. You know I don't pick up social cues. I am, as they say, socially inept. Also, most likely Chinese. Yes, almost 100%. There is no beef with Hop. He's just tired. Exactly, COD. Exactly. Oh, like for the HLX 2.0s? Because if they did actually come out with a Surefire compatible tail switch or cap at the back, that would be really nice. Yeah, if it's more than $300, absolutely not. If it's less than $300, maybe. Yeah, also true. Yeah, it's like you can complain about Holosun getting stuff from overseas, but a lot of their products just work, and they work pretty well for the money. So some of their new high-end stuff, like the digital stuff, the night vision stuff, the thermal stuff, seems really, really gimmicky to me. But their bread and butter pistol optics, their bread and butter rifle optics, red dots, I should say, work really well, especially for the money. So they're hard to complain about from a value perspective. Okay, so now I have to look this up. This should not affect that, should it? No, okay. HLX Jack. Midwest. Wait, is that for the regular one? So this is for the standard HLX model, not the big one, the 2.0 that I have. I have both, but the huge one that I have, that's like 13 ounces, comes with that. That's a complicated question. Yeah, absolutely. It restricts the gas flow. So with a 6 arc, especially if you're using a suppressor, you absolutely need some sort of gas mitigation system to get it to run properly. Because if your bolt velocity is too high, you will not feed. You will just absolutely not feed with a suppressor on it. So whether that's buffers, adjustable gas block, bootleg carrier, adjustable key, whatever you got to do to mitigate that gas, do it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's good. That's really good, because that means, because I have two HLX regular versions and the 2-point thingamajig, so I can actually just swap those out. That's actually really nice. That is awesome. And then I don't think there's anything else that I really care about here. The PID Plus, again, people really like this, but this one here has this one here is the one with the laser. The laser's a gimmick. Don't get the laser model. Just get the regular one. Ooh, a smaller version, the PID small, which is nice. Again, more options to compete with the TLR 7. Always a good thing, especially if you can actually get really good output out of it. 1,000 lumens, 10,000 candela. That's pretty lame candela, but it's still better than the 500 off of the TLR7 and 7,000 candela, I want to say. So still better. Also, at least the dealer cost on these is very cheap. The dealer cost is usually like sub $100, so it's very good. Ask me how I know. Ooh, new enclosed optics for the SCS model. SCS P10. Okay, so am I crazy? But why would you put a small optic on a P10? Well, I guess like a P10C, you could use that as a concealed carry, but I'm thinking like a full size P10, like you would just put a full size optic on it, not something like the SCS. But that's just me. 507 comp. I don't care about that. Okay. Let's go ahead and remove that. Guys, it's been an hour and a half, and I appreciate all of you coming in, but I don't have that much more to talk about. Originally, I was only going to go through the PWS URX, which we've already covered in detail, the Desert Tech Wolverine, which again, I should be able to shoot on Wednesday at 6 p.m., and the new primary arm stuff, which they came out with a bunch of Nova reticles and their new GLX red dot, and the SLX red dot, which is actually the better version. Strike Industries P90 body, which is kind of a joke, but looks really cool. So we'll take a look at that later on. But I believe that is all that I have. Build from scratch. Don't buy. Well, actually, I take that back. I don't know. I've built a few 6.5 Grendel uppers, and I've had good luck. I never bought one, so I know no one who makes a good one. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. That's what I was thinking. Something big for that. But with all of it out of the way, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. There will be a lot of SHOT Show coverage next week. Again, most of it is going to be on the Gun.Deals channel for the bread and butter type stuff, surface level. For something that I get upset about or something that I hate, that's going to be on the personal channel. And then hopefully, yeah, you can do that too. Hopefully, I will do a live stream every night. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I should be doing a nightly live stream just to kind of recap the day. And then that should be it because I'm actually flying out Friday morning. So Friday, I'm really not going to be at SHOT Show all that much. But other than that, guys, thank you so much. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. Peace out.